Oh yeah. Well done. Just got immediate IATL. Yeah. No. Thank you very much. That was spotted.
Hello there.
Oh, hello. Just stifling a yawn. You okay?
Yeah, fine. Yeah. No, I've just had a couple who pulled out, but we usually get a couple who just drop in anyway. So we'll see. But
that's fine.
No, it's
how much interaction do you want? Because I can just talk through, or do people like butt in and ask questions? Or
people usually, if you're talking, they let you talk, sort of thing. But if you ask for interaction, they're usually quite sort of if it's an interesting subject, yeah. Which hopefully this will be. Yeah, they tend to have quite a few questions. So
I mean, well, right at the beginning, you know, when I ask, you know, because I'm just going to put, you know, what we're seeing. I mean, it's a perfect opportunity for people to say, you know, how their bookings are going. But it depends, you know, it could take forever to go around everyone.
Yeah, I mean, most of them will be sort of like people who work with hoteliers, so they won't all be hoteliers. So
yeah,
yeah, but
okay.
I don't know. It's it might be good to ask for a general sort of opinion of how things are going at the moment from the people, and then launch into something more sort of yeah.
And have you got another speaker?
No. But
okay.
We'll have a bit of a chat. We usually have a bit of a chat at the beginning, or the guy I was going to ask about recruitment, but the guy who does recruitment has just had to pull out. So anyway, we usually have just a little bit of chat about how things are doing and everything.
No, so I can take my time if you like.
Yeah. Hello there, Austin.
Hello. How you doing, Robin?
All right, thank you. You?
Good. Yeah, not too bad. You know, ducking and diving as they do.
Any new inventions?
We have something called super tough menus, which are quite interesting. So they are, so you can get them in all sizes, but they can go in the dishwasher, and they are, you know, scrubbable, whatever, and they'll last a year. Now the challenge with this, I think, at the moment is because of the flexibility of pricing requirement that people have. So they're about 3 times more expensive than the laminated card version. But of course, they look, you know, 6 months later, they still look like this, as opposed to how laminated card does. So I think it's a good product. I think that the difficulty is with the time and the flexibility on stuff. But lists and things like table talkers and just, you know, lists of the coffee offering, things like that. I mean, because these just unclip as well, and they just go again. They all go in the dishwasher, and it's like, and they're everything's double-sided as well. So it's not a bad little product. But that's what the one that's launched this week, and then I'm launching something called grill houses, in the next couple of weeks. We've got grow houses are basically like these little cottages, these little huts that have inside barbecues and fire pits. So I don't know if I've got a picture. I can't share a picture with you. I'll send you the link. But it's on Amenity Warehouse now, and they're really cool. I went and saw one being put together yesterday at a site in Swindon, and they're really cool. So and they're not bad priced either. That's the important thing as well. So it's made with Finnish spruce, Finnish spruce and pine, and they're just great little wooden structures, so to speak. So if people want glamping things, that type of thing, we've got all that in the range. And in fact, we've just sold a few to a hotel up in Scotland who's using our glamping huts. They're using for staff accommodation, temporary staff accommodation.
I suppose, compared with some staff accommodation I've seen, I suppose it can't be much worse.
You trust me, if you saw these things, you would go, hey, actually that's not don't be confused by thinking, oh, they're just giving them a tent or whatever. They're pretty cool. So that's the two main things at the moment, which is quite interesting. But
those huts, do they
eyes open?
Those huts, do they protect from the rain and stuff?
You've gone mute.
Oh, sorry. Are they? No, I'm not mute.
I can hear you.
It's you who's got the volume wrong.
Okay, no, that's fine. I've just realized that my wife has got Bluetooth access to my speaker, and I'm just going to resolve that.
Hello there, Jan. How are you?
Morning.
Yeah, we've just lost Austin because his wife's taking his sound away.
That can be handy sometimes.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, bearing up. I'm glad the sun's out now. Finally.
Yeah. It seems to be. They say it's going to heat wave, don't they?
Yeah. Good.
Hopefully, it'll bring in the bookings.
Yeah. Kevin.
Morning. Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Kevin.
Happy New Year, Robin.
Happy New Year. Probably is since the last time we saw it.
Possibly.
Time really is fine. I know, time goes faster as you get older, but it does seem to be going really, really quick.
I know. Well, they tell me that, Jan. I have to wait till I'm older till I see if that's true or not.
Well, me too.
Yeah.
Kevin, but that's what I've
Robin's,
heard.
Robin's my guiding light.
Yeah. I'm feeling pretty old at the moment. I've been a bit busy, and it's.
Well, so you should, Robin. That's natural at your age.
Kevin's on form with the compliments this morning.
Yeah, well, we get Robin and I have a very high standard of insult.
How are you, Kat?
Hello, everyone. I'm in great form. The sun's shining. We're busy again. It's great. It's so nice, and actually to have the time to join this call as well, because I missed the last couple. So it's great to see everybody.
It's all right. I think everybody missed the last one because I didn't get enough. I didn't get a presentation, so May was skipped, as it were. But we're here today, luckily.
Yes, hello, Pete. Great to see you.
Yeah, morning. Hi, Kat.
Hi, Austin. Are you back on the? Can you hear us?
I'm back now. We almost had a problem where my wife's mobile signal was gonna. I mean, we'd have been in the middle of a discussion, and she'd have been ordering something from Next. It's just she's off recuperating from a shoulder operation, and funnily enough, that hasn't stopped her digit fingers. It's just perfect. So
I think it's part of the therapy.
I think so. I think yeah. Retail therapy. The shoulder's working.
Hi, Martin. You're looking very Are you out in the garden there? Or
No, I'm outside actually. I'm because the weather is well, it was sunny 5 minutes ago, and now it's kind of gone a bit overcast. But I thought, well, look, let me take that cold from the outside. The summer here is short enough. So you know, you gotta make the best of it while you can.
where are you now?
I'm in Stockholm. I'm in Stockholm at the
still,
moment.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I might go to Abu Dhabi, so maybe the next one I will do from Abu Dhabi, but we'll see.
Yeah. Hi, Caroline. How are you?
Good morning. Very well. Thank you, Robin. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Keeping well.
Yes. It seems
Been busy.
ages since we've were last on a call.
Yeah. I mean, May got missed because I didn't have anybody to present. And no, they've been a bit. It's between everybody else being busy and me being busy. It's kind of it's not quite as regular as it used to be.
Yeah.
I remember.
I'm don't think I'm able to stay for the whole of the meeting this morning, I'm afraid. So I'll duck out partway through.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Hi, Jan. Haven't seen you for a while either.
I know. I've been looking at your posts on LinkedIn. Ring as ever. Hi, Sarah.
Oh, hello, Jan. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
You look as though you're kind of floating in the air there, Sarah. I don't know. You're.
Oh, I've got a nice little view of from Ilkley Moor on my background. Just for, you know, so I can imagine that I'm out there even if I'm sat at my desk.
It's like one of those BBC presenters in the 70s when they didn't have them on location, but like, you know, in the studio with some dodgy background from somewhere in the Yorkshire countryside. But
dodgy.
I don't think you meant you've got a dodgy background.
I'll put a different one on there.
Hey, look, the woods, yeah.
The woods. We'll have the woods instead.
Hi, Marcus.
Awesome. Yeah.
Hi, Robin.
How are you getting on?
Yeah, very good. Thank you. We're getting on. What's this beautiful weather down there? My gosh, in the green trees. Who's that? March.
What's in? This is in Stockholm. So.
Yes, but actually, it's not that. I mean, the trees are green, all right. But I mean, at the moment, it's not even that sunny. As I said, when I headed out, it was really lovely. But Stockholm weather is a bit like the UK, really. 1 minute banging sunshine, and then it goes kind of like you know, a bit meh. We'll see.
Take out the wellies.
Hopefully not. No, I'm near my house. If it starts to rain, I will just head back in.
Wait a little bit longer because there's a couple. Hopefully, get a couple more people popping in.
Bushrod.
Yeah. So Marcus, how's the concept going of selling by characteristic?
Yeah, well, that's going actually very well. I mean, it's you can say that 1/3 of the people want to choose their own preferences, and another, I mean, it's kind of like it's kind of another third is taking whatever is suggested, like saying the most popular or other sport like this, and another third is just buying lowest price. That's how you can divide it. So it's really a third across the portfolio, pretty much. I mean, it depends on the property. One is a little higher, another is a little lower, but overall, that is quite still very good because you can say that the guys who pick it themselves, they all pay more. That's an average kind of like 10% higher average rates, 10-12%. The guys who buy the most popular stuff and whatever, they pay the highest price. I don't know why, but they pay the highest price, and they're obviously the lowest price guys pay the lowest price. But that's in principle what you can say. And I think it helps the hotels in differentiation and helps the hotels to drive more direct. That's what we're seeing for sure. So it's still a long way to go. What should I tell you? I mean, every new concept, Robin, has its challenges, and so do we. That's no doubt saying that. But overall, the results are very, very cool and very promising. And the conversion rates are very high as well, which is also good. So overall, we're very happy.
Good. Yeah, and I know what you mean about new concepts have their challenges. Yeah.
Always have challenges, and it's kind of like reminds me of change management all the time, right? You have always people saying, you know, if you have problems, and they have the guys, the team saying, okay, let's go back to the old way of doing business, and you know, I told you it's not going to work, and then you get over the tipping point, and then they like it, and it's kind of like this change management stuff which you have to go through. You have to go through the pain and everything else. So, and unfortunately, there's no shortcut to that.
No, definitely not. It's yeah, I have the same challenge. I'm doing well in my side of the business, where I help big groups to revamp themselves to the point where actually most of them can work from home and all the rest of it. But trying to convince an individual hotelier that actually they can save money and get a better service by having somebody who's not on site, not drinking their tea, and not chatting to them while with a photocopier, and actually doing work is not always the easiest thing to sell. So yes, I know exactly what you mean.
Understand.
Okay, I'm happy to have Pete Stevens here today from Clockwork Marketing, and he's going to sort of lead and almost lead a chat and talk to some ideas on the summer bookings and how we're getting on in general in the market. It's going to be an interesting one this year, I think. What do you say, Pete?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the trends are completely on their head yet again. After 2 years of bizarre booking patterns, we've got another completely odd one. I thought we were going to be a bit more back to normal, but it doesn't seem to be. I'm just going to share my screen. I can do that. Nope, that's the wrong screen. Well, it's a good start. Hold on. Share a different screen. I have used Zoom before. Okay, can you see it now?
Yep.
Great, thank you. So just to introduce myself, Pete Stevens, work at Clockwork Marketing, which is a marketing agency based in South Devon. We're on our 30th year this year, and have been working hospitality pretty much all that time, hospitality specialist, and we build websites, we do branding, we do lots of marketing. There's our sort of professional services offerings, about 20 of us. I hope it's not too noisy, I'm sitting in the office. And we also have a gift voucher shop, which any hotel can add to their property to sell gift vouchers online with fulfillment done electronically or here in post. And during the lockdown, we also launched the news service. Most of our clients traditionally have been sort of aspiring 3-star, 4-star, 5-star properties. We're missing a large part of the hospitality market. So we took a load of our marketing and learning, created loads of how-to videos, and we've created a membership scheme for hospitality businesses that maybe can't afford our professional fees, but like what we do and want to learn from us. Yeah, so that's kind of probably what we do in a nutshell, but it's not what you're here to listen to. So I'll crack on. So we're going to just talk about summer bookings and some of the customer trends that we're seeing, the challenges that we've identified at Clockwork, and some of the messaging that you can use to help overcome this, overcome the challenges and get more summer bookings. But I wanted to start with kind of, you know, what hotels are seeing at the moment. Was what we're sort of seeing in very broad terms. We're finding that hotels, which are fairly easily accessible, you know, near cities, don't have to be in cities, but, you know, ones where you can get to quite easily, or natural beauty spots like the coastline, you know, they're not doing too badly for bookings. Weddings is completely back. Lots of weddings carried over from 2020, 2021. all still you know, that's all coming in. You know, we've got properties that have nearly a wedding every week in August, you know, some of those wedding venues. And corporates returned to many of those corporate venues, you know, corporate stays and events. That's sort of broadly what we're seeing. And then, you know, sort of the opposite of that, you know, those in rural locations might be beautiful boutique hotels, but if they're just a bit awkward to get to, we don't seem to be going there. And also those properties that through the last few years have not really looked after their brand. They've just hunkered down and closed the shutters a bit. You know, that have just been a bit hidden away. They're finding it tougher to come back out. And anything that's just a bit middle of the road. I mean, no one really wants it the middle of the road ever, but you know, more so now it seems, you know, just, you know, people are quite happy with budget things or high end, but you know, there's just so much choice for average. And I'm not quite sure how many hoteliers are on the call, but if anyone's got any views on what I've just said there, it'd be lovely to hear if they're.
I think we've got one in Bournemouth, and it's doing well, but it's all very subject to the weather, isn't it? It's you know, it's all a case of holding it. It has its usual group tours and things, but booked in, but you know, the weekend is a question of famine or feast, depending on how the weather goes, really.
Yeah, and Jan's, if you want me to read, Jan's put in the chat, corporate and to some extent leisure visitors also looking for properties with a robust sustainability policy, which is an excellent point. And Google has recently launched some new features. So within Google search, each hotel has a Google business profile, which is when you search for property, it's the bit that comes on the right-hand side. And it's sort of mini Google website, really. They've just released some new sustainability sort of categories, I suppose. And I mean, there's probably like 20 of them, and you can check a load of boxes to say what you've got to what you're doing to match up to sustainability. So if that is important to you, it should be, because it's important to customers, which is why Google's added it. You can do something about it right away, and then obviously put it on your website. That's off topic a bit. Any other trends? Otherwise, I'll just carry on.
I don't know if it's stealing something from the rest of your presentation, but you did a LinkedIn post on staycation.
It is stealing something from my presentation.
I will hold my. But we're seeing that as that's one of our niche marketing programs. And on the graph of all of the niche marketing programs, that one is 20% higher than any of the others right now. Any of the rate-based promotions. Staycation isn't a rate-based promotion; it's a added value-based promotion, and it's very much a strong trend that we're seeing.
Yeah, totally going to come on to that a bit more, but it's good to get the inside of you. Thanks, Kat. So, you know, some of the buying behavior has changed. You know, you just need to keep on top of understanding how people buy now. I mean, people are always happy to look around, shop around and book late, but it's just been exacerbated by the pandemic, because people weren't booking till really late because they didn't know what the policies were going to be in whatever country or hotel they were going to be going to, you know, because they changed so quickly week to week. And it's just made people, I think, a little bit nervous. And there's so much uncertainty, which we're going to come on to a minute. But the way you get around this is just being in the market all the time, you know, having great marketing and packages. Doesn't have to be offers, but having packages out there that you know, talk about the benefits of staying there. Obviously having a strong, memorable brand, you know, not being middle of the road, and a great, really fast mobile first website with a great booking engine. I think Kat knows about great booking engines. You know, so you can win the business. It feels like me and Kat just share slides all the time, because she sent me this one. So this is for e-commerce, but it's I think it's pretty relevant to hotels as well. Reasons for abandoning a cart during checkout, and that one, you know, it's highlighted too long, complicated checkout process. You know, it's just really underlining the fact that, you know, you need a great booking engine. I mean, you need a great everything. You need great marketing, you need a great brand, you need a great website, and you need a great booking engine to to tile that together and get those direct conversions. So some of the trends we're seeing, and you can find these yourself if you Google Trends, you get this Google website where you can start sticking in terms and you'll see search trends, which is just what I've done. And then I've taken some data, some of the things that we see and we talk about a lot. So start on some easy ones such as wild swimming. So this is showing the search, not how many people search for it, but it scales it onto 100, not to 100. So you see the peaks of when most people are searching for these terms. So for the term wild swimming peaked in the end of the summer in 2021. But you can see from the last 2018, 2019, I mean, it goes up in the summer. 2020, it peaked pretty highly. 2021, massively. And 2020 looks like it's sort of coming into the wild swimming season. I live in Devon. I live about a mile from the beach. We don't call it wild swimming. We just call it swimming. But other people call it wild swimming for some reason. And another one that's completely on trend, EV charging. Just a steady increase. And the reason that I'm picking these two out is that you may or may not have EV charging, but people are searching for it, and if you've got an electric vehicle, it's going to be an absolute deal breaker for where they're going to be staying if they're staying in the UK. So if you have an EV charger, you've got to say that you have one. Don't hide that away. And if you're near somewhere where you can do wild swimming, again, you can talk about that. There's plenty of topics you can talk about that people are searching for. Wild swimming, or walking in the outside, or paddle boarding, whatever it is, wherever you live. Just make sure you're talking about that on your website. There's a couple more specific trend ones. So I put on did city breaks. Look at that one. And you can see that was bubbling along quite nicely and then just falls off a cliff in 2020. Obvious reasons, and has very slowly recovered, but not to really where it was pre-pandemic. And then Cornwall holiday as a trend, 2018, 2019, and before that, it's very typical seasonal searching, people looking for it early new year, then a little lull in spring, and then through the summer. Fell off a cliff in 2020, spiked hugely in 2020 later in the year. It was really strong all 2021. I don't know if anyone went to Cornwall, it was utterly rammed. It's looking like it's going back to its normal trend for this year. It's looking pretty strong there. And it's what Kat was talking about, staycation. Put this on LinkedIn this morning. It's funny because I imagine everyone on the call knew what staycation was before 2020, but it feels like no one else in the world did because they weren't searching for it. But suddenly it was the most searched for term. 2020, loads of searches for it in 2021. I think interestingly, 22, it's still looking pretty strong. Obviously, there's so many more choices now, but people are still quite happy to search around that term. And I thought I'd compare it to some other search trends. So that's the same staycation data. And I looked at weekend break, which I thought would be a nice one. So that's quite interesting again. They basically stopped in 2020. Weekend breaks normally thought of as probably a bit more city-ish, which may be why it's quite low. People didn't really want to go to cities, but there's a little bit of interest in 2020. It's kind of been a bit flat, and it's certainly not really recovered. Whereas family holidays, I would say it's looking pretty strong again. 2018 and 19 had its normal pattern, start the end of 2019. And then a little bit in 2020, a little bit in 22, but now in 21, sorry, now 22, or the end of 21 and onwards, it's looking, that's going to sort of return broadly to where it was before. I've just got one more of these. Hopefully they're interesting. I mean, it's not like I can carry on doing these forever. I thought I'd do some just on some negative ones really around the various crises we've got at the moment. We'll put in energy price, people searching for that. you know, that's peaked kind of around, you know, right at the turn of the year really, but still being searched for quite a lot. Petrol price, and that's actually peaked in search term. What's that, probably like about January, end of January, beginning of Feb. And cost of living is much more in people's minds, I guess, at the moment. That must have been in the last few weeks that peak came along. So hopefully that's all quite useful info. You know, it's you know, can help you understand what people are searching for, which then leads on to the packages and offers and how you describe yourself on marketing.
Pete, Caroline's asked if there are millions of searches, or how the indicator is for that, or is it some, how does it measure it? Because
yeah, no, it's a good question. I mean, so if you do, when you go on the tool, if you do one search, it's not in numbers. It just kind of I don't know, is it averages it down all to a scale of 0 to 100. Okay. So it's not actually volume. There's other tools you can get to find out search volume. You know, you might put these in and they might have tiny, you know, not huge volumes, but it just shows it on a standardized scale so you can compare. Does that answer? I mean, it's not a particularly great answer, but that's how I think it works. Just reading the other comments. Anything else wanted to answer?
No, there's quite a bit of talk about the EV. I think that's definitely going to be a popular one moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a standard feature in a couple of years' time, but if you're an early adopter, then you can certainly use it to tip the balance in your favor.
Mm-hmm.
There's I put in the comments that it's EV is a big thing at the moment, but it's the amount of inquiries and stuff that we're handling at the moment on EV charging is huge. Because actually, if you think about it, move forward 10 years and the growth of electric vehicles versus petrol vehicles, you think about what the forecourt might look like in the future with more EV than electric. The principle of battery technology and the speed of charging is going to get better, but still it could be a 15-20 minute recharge principle. And then, of course, hotels are so well positioned often with parking spaces, places to sell coffee. They could really, hotels, if they were smart, could be like the forecourts of the future. So we're currently doing, we're working, I think with the current list of hotels that we've got running at the moment at a different stage of this thing is about 40. And that's not excluding the groups that we're working with. Just so 40 independents that we have in our current list that we're cycling through. And it's just, I spent months trying to find solutions that could be kind of something that no one's got to have the, you know, nobody wants to put the CapEx in. Everybody wants to have the survey. Everybody wants to have the revenue. So we've got effectively a 25% revenue deal for people with no CapEx in hotels. So parking spaces should be seen as key revenue opportunities for hotels going forward, and it doesn't tick the box on the sustainability side. Everybody goes, oh well, they've got EV chargers, they must be sustainable. So it's a massive thing. So if anybody wants any information from the deal perspective, I'm happy to share that at any stage. Sorry, I just thought I'd add that in.
No, it's really useful. And also, I've had interesting discussions on other calls with holiday parks. I don't think there's any holiday parks there. But obviously, everyone, you know, is driving to a holiday park, and they can take thousands on site. The real logistical problem is just getting that much electricity. I think in the future.
Yeah, that is the one. That's the one thing that comes up with it is that everybody thinks they're instantly going to have the ability to have these big fast chargers as well, and the electricity network's not always there as well. So, but getting someone on board that can survey it and get people sorted out is the key thing, I think.
Cool. Yeah, Martin put his hand up, but it's raised it. Put it down again. I don't know if you want to say anything. Otherwise, I'll carry on. No, I shall carry on.
Think further to self-driving cars. Self-driving cars. That's
yeah. And self-booking holidays.
Sorry, I was typing the comment while you were talking. I'm a big believer in, you know, you've got to think a bit further. Right now it's all electric vehicles, right? But somewhere down the line, okay, self-driving cars will come in, and that's going to be so much more of a change, because the fact simply is that, well, you don't need a car, you just call one, let it drive you to the hotel, and then the car will bugger off and go wherever self-driving cars go when they're not being used. Probably out somewhere, you know, into a big lot. But that will totally change the face of cities, the face of towns, and it will also change the way hotels operate, because you simply won't need a lot of the space currently made available for cars.
Indeed.
Absolutely, totally understand and agree with that. Okay, well, I'm going to move on, look at some of the challenges and then some of the messaging around how you can get over these challenges. I mean, it's like a massive list of challenges at the moment. And some of them sort of you twist your advantage, but you know, there's obviously war going on, there's super high inflation, high cost of living, COVID hasn't gone away, you know, I've still no friends with COVID. And, you know, for those vulnerable, obviously it's still, you know, far more important than as a consideration. You know, there's EU inbound restrictions, which I hadn't actually realised till quite recently when we left the EU, and I think it's the Schengen area. Previously, anyone in the EU could travel to the UK. I think this is right, which I'm going to get corrected with an ID card only, didn't need passports, and have reciprocal health insurance as well. So I'm pretty sure now that we've left the EU, anyone in the EU who wants to come to the UK needs a passport and health insurance potentially. And, you know, whilst an individual passport might not cost an awful lot, if you're bringing a family for the one-off trip to the UK, compared to free and easy travel in the EU, they're certainly going to add another barrier. Is that right, Martin?
I suppose so. I mean, certainly for someone outside the UK right now.
Yeah.
I know lots of people that are now sort of thinking twice, especially when it comes to, obviously not when it comes to longer holidays. Long holidays are still a very good destination for that, but sort of for the city breaks, okay?
Yeah.
There's people saying, oh, should I go to, like, I'd like to go to London for a city break because, you know, we used to do this a lot, but now it's like, but it's going to be a palaver and the queues are going to be long and we're going to be losing a lot of time in what is only a short weekend break. So let's just go to, I don't know, like Paris or Vienna or whatever else. You know?
Yeah, totally. That's what I was getting at. So number 6 talks about location, really, you know, great UK destinations are always going to be great, but if you're not a great destination, it's not so easy. You know, there's certainly preconceived ideas of UK prices being high for UK people. Lots more second home owners. It's kind of carried on, and Airbnb competitors. Then you have had outbound reopening, so you know, that's been great for many people. I've already been abroad, I'm sure many have. But then with that, you got like that flight nightmare, which obviously is in the news plenty. And we've already had the ferry disruptions when P&O sacked all its staff, and then we've got rail disruptions coming up. It's just, oh God, who wants to travel anyway? Let's go by canoe. So, you know, lots of challenges for people to overcome, but you can use it to your advantage. I think there's some messaging that I'm going to come on to that I think hopefully, you know, you try and sway people to your way of thinking. So we did a load of brainstorming here to think of lots of the benefits of staycations. I've got quite a few of these, and I'm happy to share the slides. Don't have to write everything down. But just to run through what we were thinking, you know, standards in the UK, and you know, compared to some international destinations, obviously some are completely higher than the UK, but you know, there's some places where a 3-star abroad isn't really the same as a 3-star in the UK, you know, and it's, people just might question the cleanliness and the COVID policies. And also, we found a lot of our clients have done refurbs in the last few years. There's been a lot of that happening. So, you know, people might know your property, but might know the old property. You know, it'd be nice to invite them back to see the new property. Just some UK selling points is you haven't got currency issues or luggage issues, and you can start your holiday straight away. You can link into the, the kind of adventure and experience. It's, there's a lot of this set up in the UK, and it's quite easy to do in our lovely, cool, rainy summer. Things that might be a little bit too much effort when it's just super hot, depending on who you are and what you like doing. But, paddleboarding, surfing, water sports, climbing, walking, all quite, depending where you are, pretty easy really in the UK all year round. And then, we talked about, Martin talked about the airport stresses, and I talked a little bit about it. It's just so much easier if you don't go via the airport. We've got all the stress of going through the airport or having it cancelled. Like I said, I know people with COVID, I know people who've had cancelled holidays in the last couple of weeks. Someone who's going to fly away for their 25th year anniversary got cancelled on the day, and they ended up going to Cornwall instead, which isn't a bad choice, but wasn't what they were expecting. Potentially quicker journey time, holiday starts sooner, no baggage, talked about that. It's all quite familiar and easy. One they didn't put on there, you can sort of blend it into a different type of holiday, because you can go and see friends and family en route. You might go away for 2 weeks, but you might be stopping off at a couple of locations to catch up with people you haven't seen during the pandemic. There's some nice sustainability issues, supporting local, not flying, keeping money in the country, and often better for multi-generational holidays. I'd say, it's quite easy to get people together from all different locations, a little bit less coordination than getting everyone onto an airplane and flying off. I hadn't realized that when your flight's cancelled, if you're at the end of the airport and you've gone through all the check-in, when your flight's cancelled, you have to hand back your duty-free. I didn't realize, which is terrible. And if the first thing you do is head to the bar and get as drunk as you can, then you can't even get home. I really thought about it until someone pointed that out. I'm sure that everyone on this call has experienced that. So some of just in the last slide, some of the campaign ideas, and this is an example I just received last week in my inbox from St. Michael's Hotel. One of our clients escaped to Cornwall, no flight required, really direct and upfront. It's very, not like stepping around that at all. You don't need to fly to white sandy beaches as their subhead. So you can tell customers to play it safe, probably not going to get trapped in another country now, maybe like you were with the pandemic, but we also use the sort of don't miss out messaging, playing on people's fear, and sort of suggesting people take control. Leaving it late, you end up not always with the best choice, whereas, you can pick, especially staying in the UK, you can pick and plan with, 90% certainty that's all going to happen, can't you now? And encourage people to book like it's 2019. So hopefully they've been all useful. Happy to answer any more questions, but it's probably more of a discussion, and I'm sure people have got their thoughts and want to put in any other thoughts.
Anybody have any comments, any ideas? I mean, it's certainly a case of playing on that whole message that sort of avoid the problems with the airports at the moment, isn't it? Whether that problem will resolve itself is a good one. Whether they'll find enough staff.
So 2 things that I could speak to on this that we've seen with some of our kind of best-in-class hoteliers who are communicating this really well is giving the booker and the guest the confidence that you are going to look after them. Full service hospitality is back, where, get rid of the pictures with people in masks, because they are proving to be off-putting to the booker. If somebody is going to go to somewhere in the UK now, actually, we're seeing this hugely. In terms of the way that people are behaving, you only have to get on the tube in London with the lack of people in masks, for example. Show that full hospitality, because there's been a lot of stories of people who have gone to fabulous resorts but not received the service that they would expect, So we now need to give everybody the confidence that you are going to get that full service hospitality. You're going to be there. It's like, yes, maybe hospitality is short staffed, but actually, you know, we're gonna look after you. We're gonna manage the number of bookings and tell that positive story. So that's one thing. And the other thing is on the green and sustainability side of things, being green while still maintaining that full service, because if somebody's coming to your property, it's a beautiful spa property, and maybe they're actually looking forward to those in-room amenities. The Headland Hotel in down south, I forget which county it's in, they actually said they had complaints from people when they moved to the green option, when they moved to those bigger bottles. They actually had a volume of complaints from people saying, I was looking forward to my little bottles of LMS products, or my white company products, as now the hotel moved to a big bottle. So it's about communicating it positively and reassuring the bookers and the guests that they are going to get that full service, the full amenities are back.
Yeah, I just popped in the chat a link to, I mean, a very small part of that, which is adding it to your Google Business Profile. For those that are running hotels and use Google Business Profile, know what I'm talking about.
How many people on the call use Instagram and LinkedIn to drive more business? Because I have another thought on how we could all work together and support each other in our disparate companies to do that.
I only use LinkedIn. I'm not into any Facebooks or Instagrams or anything like that.
I'm the same, Robin. Only LinkedIn, and it works well.
So one of the things that we could all perhaps do, because we've all been on these calls together, a lot of us for many months now, is have a little LinkedIn group in the chat on LinkedIn. And when one of us is doing a promotional post, so Robin, when you're doing your next post for your call, tell everybody, I'm going to be doing this post at 10 o'clock on Tuesday. Because if people engage with the post within 10 minutes of that post being put out, that boosts the view of that post significantly. So yes. If we all know that you're going to do your post at 10 o'clock on Tuesday, the 14th or whatever, we can all then be ready. Then, rather than just liking it, if we celebrate, do the light bulb, do the curious, do another engagement, and a comment with more than 4 words, and maybe at mentioning another person. So Ed, you might like to at mention Devinda, you know, I might at mention you, Sarah, and Pete. That boosts our post significantly. And I think we might find
you're giving away all my secrets. That's exactly what I've been doing for the past year. It's always post around about the same time so that people know it's coming out, and then as soon as somebody posts something, you reply to it, and it does work. I can guarantee that the times when I've got instant replies and I've replied back to them, the coverage has gone much higher than when it's kind of fallen on dead ears. And yes, eventually somebody comments and you know, so definitely yeah, and yeah, we could you know, it could be an option to do that.
So I think it sounds like most of us on this call, I use Instagram all the time, and I love seeing various people's posts on Instagram and our hotels posting on Instagram. But one of the most popular webinars that we've done with Pete at Clockwork, and we did this with Best Love, was on Instagram. So in terms of attracting hoteliers to this call, maybe that might be quite a good topic, because whilst for our businesses it's not necessarily the key one, for the hoteliers and the self-promoting hotel staff, it's quite an important topic. So that might help to boost that further.
We've got one hotelier on here today, luckily.
I know, but
I think there's some really useful points there. Thank you, Kat and Pete. I really enjoyed your presentation. And I think we do have so much to offer in the UK, don't we? Because we're used to the weather being rather unreliable. So we normally have quite a lot to see and do and activities. Working with a few clients at the moment, I think there's a big interest in sort of holistic wellness and, you know, having time to, well, as well as leisure facilities, which are always good from a wet weather option B perspective. Then there's also, you know, chance to have a bit of mind time, get involved in activities like they do at the Neat, whether it be learning cider making or candle making or cookery courses, but then also the leisure thing moving more to wellness and a more holistic kind of approach with the yoga and, you know, meditation.
Yeah. I mean, I took those trends out. I mean, I had those on the slides before, and I thought, that's too many. I'll take the wellness bit out. I mean, you're totally right. You know, wellness breaks is, you know, well and truly mainstream, and you know, you don't have to remotely have a spa to encourage it. It's just signposting it, telling people where they can do it locally is, you know, enough if you don't have any facilities on site. But you know, if you have space outside or inside, and you want to encourage it more, then you know, you can employ a third party to come and, you know, run you know, yoga breaks or mindfulness sessions or any of those other training things. Not really training things, self-improvement. You know, people love self-improvement through the pandemic, and I think that's hopefully here to stay, because obviously it's good to improve yourself.
Paddle boarding is just bonkers, isn't it now? I've been working for a group of hotels in Devon and Cornwall. I'm actually in Yorkshire, so I've been doing a great deal of travelling, but and I thought I'd be super great at paddle boarding, but I can't stand up, and everyone else used to be able to do it really easily. But you know, it is, as you say, with these things, you can just get an instructor, can't you? Do those links and do things outside, and you don't actually need any facilities, but it's just that whole, you know, story.
But providing something that is a bit different and unique is also important. So, you know, I mean, yoga's almost a bit old hat, unfortunately, although it's lovely. But you know, things like forest bathing and sound baths and I suppose paddleboarding is difficult to live by the sea all the time, but you know, we always forget that loads of people don't do it all the time. You know, they're lovely things to, you know, barbecue schools, and you know, there's loads of sort of slightly left field things which aren't that difficult probably to find the people for.
Pete, question. I mean, there's always, do you have any kind of data in terms of always the challenge is the reach, right messages, put the right experience on the shelf, as we all said, is great, but do you have any data in terms of, I feel sometimes we're kind of like, which channels, we're not reaching maybe the people we want to reach, and we're not cutting through the crowd on the channels we can actually easily handle, let's say Insta. Do you have any data there, or do we need to be more, I don't know, bold in our industry to say, let's try some new channels and let's try some different messages for different channels to see how we stick out, or how we get a message better out? Is there any?
Yeah, sure, loads of data on the channels. I mean, we track everything with Google Analytics, which lets you sort of see a whole picture of all the marketing activity you're doing, how you're driving it to your website, and then how you're converting them in the booking engine and tying all that together. Like by far, probably over 50%, 60, 70% of web traffic comes from Google search first. You know, unfortunately, no one knows your hotel, but they know they want to go on holiday. So they type in best Cornish holiday with spa experiences or wellness experiences. You know, that's how everyone starts well, most people start a hotel booking, holiday booking journey. So if you're going to do, it's just by far the most important thing to do as much SEO as possible. And there's lots of things you need for that. You need a great, really fast website, which I said already, which has the facilities to keep SEO, technical SEO up to date. You also need loads of great new content all the time. You need to keep your business, Google business profile up to date. Let's share that link just now, doing those sort of things. That's by far the biggest one. You know, and pay-per-click is a sort of shortcut if you want to spend a bit of money to get to the top. Which is, you know, totally relevant if you need that shortcut. you know, meta search is like the new channel. Kat might want to talk about that in a minute. I mean, social is really hard because like everyone's on social, but we don't see it driving a lot of bookings. You don't go to Instagram to book a hotel. I mean, you engage with brands there, but you don't. You know, you don't. I mean, I don't know about you. I don't think I've ever bought anything from a social post. It's just not that. It's not that channel. Kat's always shopping on social.
I disagree.
Come on, Kat. Come on, Kat. Go on, go on.
She's got a secret to share.
Okay, so my mummy group with all of the mothers at school, we're West London, we live on our phones, we're all on Instagram, where so many of us have found holiday. We're going to go on a little family holiday to Belfast, and the reason is because another friend of mine, Carol, went there. She posted the pictures on Instagram and Facebook, and it was so amazing. It's dead easy to get to. I've got Avios to use. We're going to fly from you know, it's still the UK or whatever, but due to the, like, literally we are used to, there's a big section of the world that is very used to buying things on Instagram and is used to that click through, and you may not actually book the hotel on your phone in that moment if it's for a family holiday, but you get that inspiration. You see those pictures of those holidays that people are on. So if you've got a wedding at a hotel, if you've got a wedding or a function at your hotel, encourage people to check in. Okay, right, proper top tip. Have a photo opportunity, whether it's a swing or whether it's an actual frame in the garden, or have a photo opportunity and photo points at your properties where people can take those photographs, share them on social media, because the top source of, for example, wedding or events business is other weddings and events. So I pretty much only buy stuff off my phone. You know?
Yeah, I'm with
yeah, Ed, I think
definitely with Kat on that one. If you look at the likes of Balbirnie House in Scotland, that are award-winning weddings and events venue, and they are massive on Instagram. Huge on posting about their weddings, getting their wedding guests to post, getting their bride and groom to post and tag them in. They're huge on that. So yeah, very much with Kat, and that's why influencers nowadays make so much money as well.
Just a little thing to add to that, and quite genuine, the same way that I've noticed quite a few people have looked at my LinkedIn post profile during this call. It builds social trust to have a consistent brand. We've got a call coming up with Pete on branding very soon. It builds social trust to have a consistent profile across all channels, so that when somebody is searching for what you do best, whether that's a family holiday in Bath or whether that's you know, something special to do for an anniversary, they can see you on Instagram, they can see you on Facebook, they can see that other people they might know have checked in, and it builds that trust and confidence for the booker, that they kind of, you know, they see that user generated content. Martin, you've got your hand up.
I didn't want to now interrupt you, all right, but because we were talking about hotels and social media influencers, I think much underlooked or overlooked there is the F&B in hotels, okay? Because I mean the whole social media, yeah, I get it. Like, you don't necessarily want to book a hotel stay. Is good for like browsing and finding out about new stuff, but you necessarily don't want to book a hotel stay. But a restaurant, different story. You would do that. I think you would book a meal or you would buy a dish.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that is such a good point. Thank you.
It's good for local stuff.
Hugely.
Good for weddings and local for, you know, food and drink or spa, where we're not going to travel very far.
So there's two. I'll post some best practice things in the chat of hotels that are really the places that are doing this incredibly well. Because, you know, boosting food and beverage sales, it can be hugely profitable.
I'll pop them in there, and I'll make sure, as usual, I send out the chat at the end of the section. Anybody else got any? One thing that is on my mind, as far as, because everybody's talking about the cost of living crisis and everything, but is it affecting bookings? I remember when 2008 came along, I was in obviously a higher grade hotel at the time, but bookings didn't change because the people who had the money carried on spending it. They were just perhaps a little more careful about where they spent it. But I mean, will cost of living affect if people go away more, and if they go abroad as opposed to if they go to the UK? What do we think?
I was at a forum last week and talking to a number of investors, because as well as consultancy, I do equity and debt raising for hospitality businesses. And I think that people are thinking that once we get to autumn, there's really going to be a big impact, because already from a hospitality industry perspective, they're feeling the pain. But from a consumer perspective, as soon as we need to put our heating on, if customers have the choice of going on holiday or going out or putting the heating on and filling the car to be able to get to work, and they've got that compounded with those increased energy costs, which increase use, and they're all going to go up in October, I think there will be quite a fight. I think there will be a real drop in demand, and it is going to be survival of the fittest, or you're going to have to shout, have a really good, attractive brand to be able to attract people. Obviously, there are the very wealthy people that it won't affect, but in the middle market, I think we will see a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I think it's all the sort of second and third type holidays, isn't it, Sarah? So I'm sure people still go and do one big thing at least, but it's like, do you go away in October half term or Christmas? Those are ones that are going to get pinched, aren't they?
Yeah, all the mini breaks.
Yeah.
Maybe the family get-togethers and the extra celebrations. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody got any more to add? Any more comments? Any more questions? No. Okay. Right. Well, thank you, Pete. Been very enlightening. Perhaps, as Kat says, perhaps we need to do an Instagram session next. See if sort of that gets some interest as well. It's certainly one of those areas I've not really got that much involved in, but it seems to be a major topic within the sort of like advertising these days.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you talk to me, but I'm happy to do those if you need.
Yeah.
So what we do all day, every day here. So you can easily talk about it with Kat. Okay. All right. Thank you much, everybody, for attending today. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it was interesting, and look forward to seeing everybody again in 1 month's time.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Robin.
Thanks for your time. Thanks for the invite.
Cheers.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Pete.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, Pete.